Hello and welcome to a question that gets asked all the time here on the channel, and that is, should I buy an electric or hybrid vehicle? Well, in this video, let me explain why if you're going to do so, you need to be very, very careful. So one of the big marketing pushes by electric vehicle manufacturers is that there's far fewer components to go wrong in the first place. There is no engine, there is no gearbox in the traditional sense, and that also means when it comes to servicing, well, there's no oil changes, there's no air filter changes, so it's going to be much cheaper, isn't it? Well, yes, there is an argument to be had there. However, that saving can be completely and utterly wiped out by one of those electrical components failing, and that's what we're going to talk about. Over the last few years, it's been consistently documented that EVs typically cost up to about 50% more to repair than their typical combustion engine counterpart. People are used to hearing that EVs have fewer parts than a combustion vehicle, but that's just not the case in collision repair. The way that many EV parts are welded into the vehicles as well means that the components can't be repaired and have to be replaced instead. And this is completely true. If we take the battery, for instance, a component which will fail at some point in that vehicle's life, not a question of if, a question of when. There are currently no manufacturers replacing individual components in these like we would do with a traditional combustion engine. Instead, they'll just request that you replace the entire thing. Now this is where things get really scary.
An EV light come on. I had taken it to the shop. They couldn't find anything wrong.
But there was indeed a problem.
2 weeks after that, the vehicle stopped charging.
The dealership in Hamilton said he needed the battery replaced. The quote stunned him.
I was provided a quote at $50,000.
Between the battery installation and taxes, it totaled just over $50,000.
I was just floored.
Especially because his 160,000 kilometer electric vehicle warranty had just run out.
How convenient. The warranty had just run out and then hit him with a £50,000 bill. The title of this video is I felt like I got kicked in the nuts is probably more accurate. That's unbelievable, and get a load of this as well.
The dealer at Hyundai told Such there was nothing they could do.
I still had to pay $500 for them to tell me the car's no good.
Stories like this one are the kind to scare off buyers concerned about the high cost of electric vehicle repairs. When confronted with the choice to fix or dispose of his powerless Hyundai Ioniq, he chose the latter.
I ended up scrapping the vehicle and collecting around $1,000.
I mean, I can't blame them. It's a completely false economy to go throwing that much money at a used vehicle, especially when it's got a few miles on it. But isn't it just the most contradictory thing that you've ever heard? The whole idea behind electric vehicles is to try and be better for the planet, not to scrap an otherwise perfectly fine car because one electrical component has failed. Now, I'm glad to say there are some efforts being made to make things a little bit more affordable. Here is some of the pricing that was actually published by Rich Rebuilds, really cool YouTube channel. You should check it out if you haven't already. But this gives you an idea how much the battery packs are for different types of Tesla cars. Now, I'm going to use the term a bit more affordable very loosely here because in your used Tesla, still having to spend between $10,000 and $20,000+ for a new battery is going to sting no matter what. Remember as well, you're going to be a good few thousand in labour to actually have the work done to swap that battery out, and this leads us on to another problem. So as existing owners of electric vehicles are finding out, there's also a limited number of repair shops that are able to take on this work, and rightly so, they're charging a premium when they do. Also, cars containing these lithium-ion batteries need special storage because they can be such a fire risk when they're damaged. Understandably, that's going to add time and cost to the repair process as well. So you can start to sympathise and understand why garages that choose to work on electric vehicles need to charge a premium and cover their own backs, either for a private individual or if the cars come in through an insurance company. Very likely part of the reason that insurance has risen so steeply on these types of cars, but that's a topic for a whole other video. First of all, the actual investment in the equipment to work on the cars is pretty massive for a small or medium-sized garage, and then you've got this added challenge of where you keep the cars, because when these lithium-ion batteries do get punctured or damaged, they've got a tendency to catch fire. So you need to manage that very carefully and have a bit of space as well. So should you buy an electric vehicle or hybrid? Now here's the thing, I actually really like the way electric vehicles drive. I like the ethos behind it. I like the way that companies like Porsche are using it for performance gain. I think it's a complete game changer in that field. So overall, I really like the idea. However, my whole goal of this video is just to try and inform you, the consumer, a little bit better, so you're not purely getting information from the marketing departments of the companies who are trying to sell these products. So for me, if I was buying one of these vehicles and it was going to be in warranty, relatively new, and I knew I was handing it back like a PCP deal, I wouldn't sweat it. If it's what I really wanted, I'd go for it. However, be very, very careful. If you're buying one of these things coming up on 10 years old, 100,000 miles, no warranty, it could well end up being the most expensive car you've ever owned. Now, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification, and I'll see you for the next video.